YouTube, what is going on? PPS back. My boy VMoney. We're ready to roll with some college basketball. We're on the NBA All-Star break, so it's kind of weird. How do you feel just doing college ball? We're not even having to worry about NBA anymore.
I'm not complaining about it. I'm excited for March Madness. I want these futures bets, these Final Four bets. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I saw you were on a stream earlier. Who was you? I didn't get to hear the end of it though. Who were your futures? I saw your first part. You talk about a couple of the games we'll talk about here, but who were those futures? I got to make sure I lock those in.
Yeah, I was about to say that was I don't know what happened to my Wi-Fi there. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. But I got LSU in the Final Four. I got Texas Tech in the Final Four. Two top three defensive efficiency teams in the entire country. Feeling good about them and their deep dark horse ability in the thing. Obviously, you don't know where they're going to be matched up with region, all that, but two teams that probably could get a good swing. And then, I mean, Gonzaga is probably the best bet to win it all, man. I just feel like they're in a tier of their own again. Like we thought Auburn was going to match them, and then Auburn peaked a little bit. And, I mean, if you're talking about the rest of the teams like the Purdue's of the world, you know, those type of squads, I'm not really getting down with them either. So, yeah, I have some early bets on like UCLA, Texas, and all those teams, but not as confident watching them now as I am in like, you know, an LSU or a Texas Tech.
Yeah, no, I grabbed Gonzaga, I believe, at plus 800 when they were like the 6th seed or 5 or 6 when they I think they lost their only loss of the season. Grabbed them there because that offense is just that offense is disgusting.
Yeah, and I don't know. What do you think about Alabama too? Before we get into tonight's plays, because Alabama's a team that has like this insane resume, but you watch them and you're like, "There's no way this team's going deep." It's like I have no idea what to make of the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Alabama fan personally. I just can't trust their defense. I feel like they have way too many letdown games for a team that's going to be in this big spot. So personally, I'm not huge on the Tide. Obviously, just kind of depends on their region, I guess. But
yeah,
I like Nate Oates. He's actually a Wisconsin guy who coached up here at Whitewater before he went down there. So I know a little bit about Nate Oates. That was actually in the conference that I played in. So I know him pretty well. And obviously, he's moved on to bigger and better things. But still, I mean, you can have a good coach. And I just don't think that this team is as talented or like big enough to compete with some of these teams that are rolling out Timmy and Holmgren. You're going to tell me that those guys can match that? There's no way. I just don't think they have enough physical presence here when they start going against these bigger teams to be able to compete.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've definitely been impressed some points, but their 3-point shooting's garbage. I know we're going to talk about a little Arkansas basketball. I was going to say they just beat Arkansas a couple of days ago by 1 point. That's a game I definitely thought the Razorbacks should have won. But should we get started on tonight, man? Should we get the biggest winners?
Yeah, let's get it rolling. I'm about to drop the link on Twitter here in a second, but I'll get you right into it. We're talking a little SEC basketball. I'll let you get right into it. I know this is I have a personal play on this game, but I didn't like post it anywhere. And I'm glad that we kind of were on the same side when we kind of talked about this earlier.
This is like an interesting game. It started out like, I mean, it was a pick 'em all day. Now it's like 1.5 for Arkansas. I'd still just play the money line in this game, but perfect fade spot on Florida, man. Like they just beat Auburn at home, 63-62, biggest win of the season for Florida. Now you're talking about this is a March Madness team. This team is going to get a better seeding, but in reality, I don't really think Florida is all that good. I mean, outside of Castleton and Appleby, that's really the main two things for them going. But Arkansas has looked good recently. I mean, they beat Missouri. Crushed Missouri. They beat Tennessee, held them to 48. And, of course, we just talked about the Alabama game. But that Alabama loss snapped a 9-game winning streak for Arkansas, 11 of the last 12. So, yeah, I feel pretty confident laying the money line here. A couple interesting facts now. The only negative thing about this is, I don't know if you know this, Justin, but Florida has beat Arkansas 9 straight times at home, all the way dating back to 2007. But I do think this is the best Arkansas team they have faced. And if you get down to the nitty-gritty, this is like the biggest cap of all for me. Arkansas is a top 5 tempo team in the SEC. When Florida plays the other top 5 tempo teams, it was A&M. They lost by 1. It was LSU. They lost by 6. Alabama, they lost by 13. And the other team was South Carolina, who they beat by 8. Obviously, South Carolina is no Arkansas. So I think Arkansas gets the dub here. Florida struggles with teams that play fast offensively. Razorbacks are that team. So Yeah, give me the money line for the Razorbacks. It's going to be a scary bet, but one, I think they're going to break the streak tonight.
I like that, man. I like it. I just think Musselman's a way better coach, too, personally.
Yeah.
I think he definitely is going to be the edge there. Where did Castleton come out of? Obviously, I knew a little bit about him, but, man, he just took over that team. I think that's going to be a fun game tonight. I have to lean Arkansas on this one, too. I know I have a play on them as well, but I had them at like +1 this morning. Florida was a favorite and then went to pick them, and now it's all the way on the other side. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a really fun game. Oh, you're messing around with the background there.
Yeah, I had my green screen up accidentally. I was like, why do I look extra light-skinned today, like a Michael Jackson or something? I don't like this.
Yeah, dude.
But didn't help much. Still light-skinned, still here. But, yeah, Arkansas definitely seems like the right play. One of my coworkers, Tom Casale, was on them. He does a really good job of picking like spots where teams are really good fade spots after coming off big wins. And we talked about Arkansas too. So that gave me a little confidence in playing them today, despite that losing streak against Florida.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of good games in the SEC to come here to finish up the season while we get into there. But let me go right into mine. I'm going to be going to some MAC. You're in the SEC. I love me some action, man. I love it. My first one is one I just posted. Or no, I don't even know if I posted it yet. So this is the first time we're going to see it. Hopefully, I don't know if you froze on me or what, but hopefully I can get through this one and we get you right back in. I'm going to be rolling with Central Michigan versus Ohio. I am going back to the MAC, a team that I did fade a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I faded them versus Kent State. Obviously, Kent State is playing unbelievable basketball right now. And I think this is the better spot to jump back in on Ohio. I'm going to be rolling with their team total. I'm seeing 79 and a half. I just think that's too low. We're playing a Central Michigan team here that absolutely sucks. They're terrible. CMU is 347th in the country in points allowed. And we're getting Ohio here, who's top 100 in points per game, 74 and a half. And with those losses to Kent State, they've also lost both games to Toledo. So they have to win out the rest of the games here to even compete in the MAC, to even try to get the 1 seed there. Because, I mean, if you're not the 1 or 2, you're going to have some issues. And if they lose, Kent State's definitely going to have the tiebreaker with how well they've done against them. When I'm looking here, Central Michigan's just so bad defensively. They're the third, 338 in field goal percentage allowed. They allow 47% shooting against them. They're 336 and KenPom. I know KenPom is a little bit more known to people, so I usually like to bring that one up there because I know a lot of people like to use KenPom there. And when we go with Ohio, I like this spot because it is a pace neutral spot. I feel like when we start seeing them in a pace down spots, when you start to see those 60-point games that they tend to have this year, I know they've had them against Akron and they've had them against Kent State. So when we're in a pace neutral spot, I think both teams are going to be willing to run. And one thing that came up to me, and I'm like, why is this spot so low? Because if we just have to hit their average, Ohio averages 81.3 points per game at home. And guess how much points CMU allows on the road?
It's got to be over
80 points. So all I need is their averages, and I'm hitting this. All I need to do is see an 8, 40 a half. And with a team as bad as Central Michigan is on the defensive side, I have no issue seeing Sears just absolutely blow these guys up. Obviously, he's their best player, 20 points per game. I think he's number 1 scorer in the MAC right now, passing Ryan Rollins of the Toledo Rockets here. So I really like this game for Ohio. Only concern here is that they beat them by 100, and I'll take it. So I just need it to be like a 20-point game, and I think we get to see Sears to the end of the match there. So I'm excited. I think that we see Ohio put up an 80 piece at least here and cash this team total pretty easily.
Yeah, I like it. I know we talked about this a little bit on the phone earlier, and that was definitely a play that I leaned to pretty heavy. I haven't watched as much MAC basketball, but I have watched Central Michigan because that's a good team to fade. Obviously, every defensive problem, they have it. But, yeah, they almost beat Toledo in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a spot where it's like, you know, they felt like they should have got that game, and it would be a good spot to fade them no matter if they won or lost that game by a couple points. So I do ride with you on this pick, and I'm gonna throw some lunch money on this one.
Yeah, and I'll actually talk about that Central Michigan Toledo game in my next matchup that I got there. But we'll go to you next. We're going to a money line. I'm on an over, and you're going to a little scary under here. So let's see what you got.
Scary money don't make money. But yeah, I mean, the last time San Diego State and Boise State met, the score was 42-37. So I mean, ridiculous. The total was at 124 in that game. And I mean, I don't really see much for this game to go over the total. Like, both teams struggled. I mean, 31% from the field and 3-point land for Boise State, and they won that game with 16 turnovers. Both teams, you look at the tempo on KenPom, I mean, they're both 275, 303. Everything about their possession lengths are 18.5, 19 seconds. I mean, and they're both top 11 teams nationally in efficiency defensively. So it's like everything lines up for this to be a low-scoring game. Historically, it's been pretty low-scoring lately. And in Mountain West Conference play, the unders have hit 42-34. So you even have that factor as well when these teams meet up, like I said. 79 and 120 points the last two meetings. So, yeah, I took the 120, took the under. I got a 120.5. It's been floating between 119 and 120.5 all day. But, yeah, this is going to be a scary bet to make. But at the same time, it's not even the lowest total on the day. So let's ride it.
Yeah, and one thing I did really like to see was their ability to, like, get back in transition, right? Yeah. When you're watching, like, Wyoming, who plays pretty quick for this conference, they held them to mid-60s. You don't see that very often. You don't see Maldonado be held in check because that dude is an absolute monster. So this game screams under. I think both teams are fantastic rebounding teams. You see the big guys. San Diego State is known for it, just having those big brutes down low who just grab everything. You're not grabbing an offensive rebound on San Diego State here. And I know against, like I said, there was Wyoming, and there was also Utah State, who I really like in this conference. And they played them pretty well there. I know they lost. Or no, they won. They won their last one. I think they won by like 10. But still, a low-scoring game that went under the total. So I'm not as scared as I should be to be betting a game at 120. Yeah. When I hear 120, I'm nervous. But in these ones, like, everything kind of screams that spot, you know?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, back in the over would be even more scary, in my opinion. Like, and there's just nothing pointing to this game being high scoring. And like every model has this going under 120 as well. But yeah, San Diego State, literally Virginia is the only team in the country that has a slower average possession length on defense. So you know what you're getting out of San Diego State every single time. And yeah, I mean, the top two defenses in the conference have at it again. Give us that slow brand of basketball that we hate to see.
Yeah, I know. And who was it? I think one of my favorite dudes for them is Acott too. So I like him quite a bit. But San Diego State's actually, third in the conference here, so they need to win, and they're not going to try to push that tempo to win this game. They know they're going to have to beat them in a rock fight. So yeah, really like that spot at 20, right? 120 was what you got at. Nice. I've been seeing 119, so at least they're moving to your way. So that's good to see.
Yeah.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Going right back to the MAC. And this is something I've been talking about for a long time. This whole entire year, I have been fading directional Michigan schools every single time. Any chance I get, whether it's Eastern Michigan, Western, Central, they all suck on defense. They're all in the bottom half of the conference. And in Eastern Michigan's case, they play very fast and just don't stop anybody. Western Michigan is actually a pretty slow team. That's usually the only reason I don't go to them. But when they played, 2 months ago, they were one of the first games of the season in the MAC conference. Western played it up to 75 possessions with Toledo. So that is 11 possessions over their average. And Toledo on average is 6 possessions faster. So they're more than willing to run if the team that they're going against wants to, right? Western, almost pretty much exactly what I said about Central Michigan is the same thing for Western. Yeah. They're a bottom 10 defense in the country, Toledo 60th in the country in offensive efficiency, according to KenPom there. Toledo also does not play great defense, which actually can make this game move a little bit quicker, right? So, like, if I'm playing a team here, like when I'm playing, like when we have Ohio here, they could completely shut them out on defense. That's why I can't touch the full game over. I'm actually personally on the full game over as well. And that's because Toledo allowed 72 points to Northern Illinois, 83 to Ball State, 72 to Kent State. And even that terrible Central Michigan team we just talked about scored 66 on these guys. So that also helps my team total here. I'm going to be on the team total over 79.5. And if we want to go into some trends, into some overs, Toledo is the place to go for it. They're 6-1 to the over, following a straight up win, 5-0 in the last 5 road games, 4-0 to the over in their last 4 games on the road as a favorite. I mean, are you a trends guy, Vaughn? Because if you're a trends guy, this is the spot to go.
You know I'm a trends guy. Yeah, I mean, I like this one. Western Michigan, dude, Toledo in general, if they just let Central Michigan score 66 on them, and these cats are averaging less than 46 or 45% of the season shooting, I mean, yeah, this is a clear bet for me. I mean, I like the Rockets. Toledo and Ohio are 2 teams I continually bet all last season, and I've been squeamish on betting this year because I didn't think they were going to be as good, but they've lived up to the hype, if not exceeded it. So, yeah, I mean, I talk about how Pennsylvania basketball is terrible and I love fading it, but Michigan has been just as bad, if not worse. So, yeah, I like both those looks. Good team totals. I can get down with the team total too.
Yeah, and then I was actually going to add one more thing here is obviously we just talked about Ohio, Toledo, and Kent State all fighting for that top spot. This is a must-win game. Huge bounce back after that Central Michigan almost disaster. So obviously all that's needed. And this is actually one of my favorite bounce back spots here because I think we're getting huge value on this team total. I think normally this would be like an 82 to 83 team total, but we're getting at 79.5. And that's because they went under this number in 3 of their last 4. But one of them was in that letdown spot against Central Michigan. One was against Kent State, and one was that barn burner with Ohio, right? So those are 3 games that I don't expect to go over the total. So I'm getting 3 games under out of 4, getting a huge bounce back spot. And Ryan Rollins is 5 for 22 in his last 2 games.
Wow.
There is no way that happens again.
Yeah.
And one thing I did talk about in my YouTube video earlier in the day was that almost helps them when it gets to tournament time because they also have Shoemate who had to show out, Milner who had to show out in those 2 games when Rollins was sucking. So now we're going to have a 3-headed monster instead of just 1.
Yeah.
Rollins was 20 points per game. Now he's 19, but the other 2 are 15 points per game. So who do you try to go and double team now? You can't. Ryan Rollins is going to have a huge day. Put that down. I'm taking 25 points at least.
Okay. I like that. That's a good point too. All these you're in well-rounded right for the tournament too. And the MAC's only getting one of these teams in. So the MAC tournament might be one of the most exciting tournaments, low key. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, where did Kent State come from? They were not great to start the year, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're just killing everybody.
Yeah, action, baby. You never know. You never know. I got a game though. I like the over in. I like some points to be scored. So do you, right? It's our collab play.
Yeah. So I know today we posted like a little teaser about some collabs. We're actually gonna have 2. I will let you talk about this first one. I'll talk about the second one, but I'll let you roll with the first one here. So this is actually the first drop of the collab here. And I'll let you go into my neck of the woods here. You're coming into Big Ten country. This is for our first collab of the day.
Yeah, I'm glad when we talked on the phone, this is one of the plays we both talked about because, like I said, I wrote about this a little last night, and I was like, man, there's nothing that makes me want to bet the under in this Nebraska Northwestern game. Like the over 148.5, 149, has to be the play. I mean, it's hit 3 straight meetings between these 2 teams. Northwestern has cashed the over is in the last 3 of 4 as a home favorite, but then you go to Nebraska overall. I mean, 4 of the last 5 hit the over, 7 of the last 10. It's just an over factory because their defense is like we talked about the Central Michigan and Western Michigan. They're terrible as well. Like in Big Ten play, they're literally 12th, 13th, or 14th, which is the worst all across the board and everything. Efficiency, possession length, 3-point shooting defense, 2-point field goal. I mean, it's really bad right now for them. And their only 2 wins in the last 19 games came against Kennesaw State and Minnesota. And, of course, they let Northwestern score 87 on them the last meeting. So rather than playing the 11 for Northwestern, which I think might be a little overpriced by the books, I think that the over 148 was a good look, and I know you agreed on it. And Northwestern, great bounce-back spot for them. They've lost 3 straight. They've lost by 6 to Illinois, by 6 to Purdue, and then by 17 to Minnesota. So that Minnesota game was a shocking loss for Northwestern. Great bounce-back spot here against Nebraska and a Fred Hoiberg team that I hate and I love to fade. So let's ride with that one.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. I absolutely love fading Fred Hoiberg. Yeah. That man is an absolute joke. I can't believe that man even had a chance in the NBA. Like that almost just like
on they should. Bulls. On
yeah, I was gonna say
Bulls. No
I was gonna
way.
say that's really bad for your team to even have that even related to them and even have to talk about them. But this Nebraska team is so bad on defense. It's just like their transition defense is so bad.
Yeah.
Like anybody can run on these guys, and that's what's pretty scary because Northwestern isn't going to be a team that really wants to run. But when no one's back, I'll run too. We're seeing Nebraska is averaging 79.4 points per game allowed. That is sixth worst in the entire country. And that's going against, I know I've said this to you this morning, is that's hard to do in the Big Ten. Like Big Ten plays pretty slow. And if you're going to be that bad, imagine you're going up against Summit leagues who love to run. You're going up against Big Sky teams who love to run. Even SEC teams, a lot of those teams like to run. And who would have thought a bottom 5 defense would come out of the Big Ten who literally have a lot of rock fights in their game. So they're really terrible on defensive rebounding as well. I just think Boo Buie, best name in the league, in the Big Ten, is going to cook them. I think Nance Jr. too, or Nance. I don't know if he's junior. Is he Nance Jr.? I don't think he's junior.
I think he's just a Nance.
Nance.
Yeah, just a Nance. I'm pretty sure because Larry Nance would be the junior, unless they got 2 dads and they're with the same last name. That'd be pretty weird. But just to cap that, I mean, a couple of the cool like projections and like trends I found. Nebraska in their last 33 games is 21-11-1 to the over, 65%. So 2 out of 3 games every time the over hits for them. And Northwestern as a home favorite in Big Ten play, 5-1 in the last 6. I mean, just good trends all around. Terrible defense, motivation for Northwestern. Seems like a clear over to me.
Yeah, no, I can go into some trends here because when I was looking at trends, all of it was straight red, which is good. Yeah. We're not seeing any ices here. 4-0 in their last 4 road games as a dog to the over. 5-0 in their last 5 Tuesday games to the over. Over is 4-0 in their last 4 road games against teams with a winning record at home. Over is 4-0 in their last 4 road games overall. Like where do you want to go? These trends are just straight red. And that's all I like to see here is just this team is so bad. But I do like McGowan's. I do think that he's a good player. I think that he'll be an NBA talent here. It's hard to watch. Like, they are that bad. This is the worst team in the Big Ten, and I don't even think it's close. Like, they could get 20 balled in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, and I would not be surprised.
No, they probably will. Their season's over. They know it. So, yeah, I fully expect it. I'm going to be fading Nebraska for the rest of the season, every game.
Definitely a good look because, But guess what? We could cheer for Nebraska, too, because we want some points. So
Exactly. In our second collab, another over. We want points tonight.
Yes. We're going to the last game of the night. We're going to the late night one. Probably going to be – you're probably going to be sleeping. I'll probably be awake. Yeah, this is like a 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. for me. It's probably, 11 for you. So,
yeah,
a late night for you.
I'm going to sleep at halftime.
Yeah, no, and this one just screams over to me when I'm looking at Nevada and UNLV. And UNLV's playing pretty good basketball right now, but they do allow 8.4, I think 8.4 more points on the road than they do at home for the UNLV side. And I was very surprised to see Nevada's playing at the 40th fastest pace in the country.
Yeah,
that's did not make any sense to me. I'm like, okay, maybe I should have bet them more often. But when we're looking at it, Nevada's obviously going to play quick, but UNLV is obviously playing well, and they have probably the best scorer that I've seen in college basketball this year that no one ever talks about in Mr. Hamilton there. That dude is a walking bucket. I don't see a way that Nevada is able to stop him at all. Looking at their first head-to-head, I think that we're getting value because the first game went under. And obviously we just talked about UNLV at home actually doesn't play terrible defense. They're around 64 points per game allowed at home versus on the road. They're over 70 points allowed. So we're getting that head-to-head. I think that's really what kind of brought that line down because we looked at it this morning. It was like 144.5, 145. We're getting it down. We're getting all those public guys who look just at the last matchup. like, hey, this is 20 points of value. Maybe I should take it, right?
Yep.
No, this is not the time to take it under here. This is the time to double down on your morals and go right to that over. I do understand 69-58 was the first matchup, but when's the last time you see Nevada drop 58 points in a game? It ain't because UNLV's defense was good. It was just they were missing shots. The game kind of slowed down. But like I said, I really don't see a way that this one doesn't become an up and down affair, especially the way UNLV's been playing as of late. I think we start seeing some points. And I think we see Nevada kind of put up a pretty big number today. I think the team total would be another lean of this game against the UNLV team that is rolling. But I like this Nevada side.
Yeah, no, I've liked Nevada all year, and I've definitely had success with betting them, which surprised me because that's not a team I went to target at all this season. But early on, they just looked good. They scored a lot of points, and recently they scored 81 or more in their last 3 games. But I was looking up stuff about your boy Bryce Hamilton just to see how efficient he is. It was pretty interesting because he didn't play in both meetings against Nevada last season. So this game he played earlier was his first time meeting them, and he went 2 of 9 from 3, which was his worst game in like last month or so from 3, and he only had 4 free throw attempts, and he's been doing that pretty much every game, if not more. And he's a big rebounding guy. So, yeah, looking at his stuff, I was like, he's probably going to have a huge game here, the better game than he's had against Nevada in recent years because he's only, had one meeting in the past 2 years and then COVID impacted before that. So, yeah, I like the over in general in this game. And if you're sleeping on Nevada basketball outside of after halftime because you're on the East Coast, I mean, it's a team that just scores tons of points. So, I like this one as well, and I felt pretty confident. I'll feel confident sleeping after 20 minutes and knowing I'm going to wake up with some money in my pocket. So,
yeah, and one reason I did like looking into this Nevada team is when I'm betting these teams, especially faster-paced teams, I like to look at, do they have multiple guys who can score the basketball, right? And we're looking at this Nevada team here, and they got 4 dudes in double figures. Sherfield is a sniper, and so is Cambridge. I was looking at those guys' numbers, both of them 38% from deep. I think that is massive here. And one other thing that I wanted to talk about before we get to recapping, because I know the games here start in like 15 minutes, so we've got to get all of our stuff in and all the numbers in here. But UNLV this year at home is 4-11 to the over. Them on the road, 7-2 to the over. That is massive, guys. When you're looking at switching up home and away numbers, that's pretty much as drastic as you're going to get for over and unders on each side. That's one number that just screamed my name when I'm like, oh, UNLV on the road. Let's get that number. I think that Cambridge obviously is going to be able to shoot pretty well here. UNLV struggles to guard the three-point line. And I think Hamilton, I don't know. What do you think? A 30-piece?
Yeah, I was going to say it's very likely. And another thing that I like about like fading, just taking the over in general or fading Nevada in some ways, their 3-point defense, which you just kind of hit on. I mean, it's terrible. Like 37% in the conference play this season. I mean, they're allowing over 40% of their points on defense that come from the 3-point line. And that's going to be kind of dangerous against UNLV because like they're not the best on the season, but when you look at conference play in particular, like they're hitting 37% on offense and holding opponents to 30% on defense. So they're literally number 1 and 2 in those respective areas. So as much as I like Nevada, UNLV is you can't sleep on them in this spot. And yeah, I think Hamilton's going to have a big game. So he had 17 the last time. Mm-hmm. I mean, we could definitely book him for at least a 20-piece, at least.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll even mention, then or if you want to have the last word, you can have the last word. This is my last word, promise, is when I look at these close games, right, when we're getting like that 3 to 5 point spread.
Yeah.
What I always look for is how well can you shoot from the free throw line? When we're going to have those late game fouls, how well do you shoot? And we have a Nevada team here, like I said, older guards, shoot the 3-point well, and they shoot free throws fantastic. They are 69th in the country, 75% from the line as a team. And also UNLV is actually shooting 73% as a team. But when you really dig into who's going to have the ball at the end of the game, it's probably going to be Sherfield. This man is shooting 88% from the line. Wow. That is money. That is going to make us money. If it's getting close, I want the ball in his hand. I want him on the free throw line, and I'm going to watch that money go straight into my account because this guy's going to get that money there.
Oh, yeah. I love that. It's a good point. Let you get the last word.
Yeah, you got it now. That was all I had to say. That's all. That was my last stuff.
Yeah, but no, I love all the plays, and just to go over like what I already bet, San Diego State and Boise State under 120. Slowest pace game, not the lowest total game on the slate. We're going over on the collab 149 or 148.5, whatever you can get. Nebraska, Northwestern, and then Arkansas is a pick 'em on the money line too, and then UNLV, Nevada over 143. It's been coming down in our favor. So definitely grab that. I think that's going to go back up by the tip tonight, up to like 144, 144.5.
Yeah, and that's something I always like to mention too is when you look at games that prior or their last 3 games that have gone under, you just know that the public's about to hammer that under too. So I love fading that public money coming on the under because that the 3 things they'll look at is the last 5 games, the matchup, the first time they played, and that's pretty much about it. And if it's low, then guess what? I'm going to fade them because I know how these teams are playing, right? And we've seen enough of these, right? We've seen enough of these games and watched enough of these guys play. And plus, you got to take a MAC over. Like, what else can you do? You can't take a MAC under.
You have to. Yeah. And a couple things I'll point out too. I just got the report for all the money coming in on PointsBet for all the top 25 games right now. Pretty big money coming in on Alabama tonight, laying the 3.5 or 4.5, over 80% of the spread bets and the spread handle percentage. So that's actually massive. And Arkansas is now moving to like minus 125 range everywhere.
Nice.
84% of the money is on them tonight and 75% of the handle. And the over is a huge bet with 91% of the handle on the over in that game. 94% of the handle is on the under in Kansas and Kansas State, which seems like a pretty good bet, but with 90% of the money on it, I probably won't want to touch that one.
Yeah, no, those rivalry games, I always like the under on those, so I always like to kind of sprinkle on them. But yeah, Kansas has been an interesting team. What's your thought on them before we head out? We'll talk about a little bit of future stuff and kind of thoughts.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to call them like a one-man crew or like a two-man crew and stuff, but I don't think they're going to be deep enough team-wise to really make a run in the tournament. Like I don't want to mess up his name, but Oates, I don't even know how to say his last name right now. I haven't watched, but number 30, we'll call him that. But yeah, he's been a stud all season. Him and Jalen Wilson, and like I like the 1-2 punch for them. But do I trust David McCormack to step up or like a Christian Braun to step up? I not necessarily. I'd much rather bet like Texas Tech or Baylor in the Big 12 over Kansas right now. So. I'm a Jeanette Jayhawk by heart. That's where I grew up, but not a Kansas Jayhawk. That's for sure. Not this season. So I'm gonna fade them. And they got a stretch up after Kansas State. They play Baylor, TCU on the road, TCU at home, and then Texas at home. Those might be some really good games to fade Kansas against the spread in, to be honest with you, especially the TCU ones. Everyone's gonna be like bet Baylor and Texas against Kansas. They bet Kansas against TCU both times, but that might not be the move, to be honest with you. So I might be betting TCU next week and holding my nose against Kansas.
I know, dude. Did you see that brutal beat last night at Arizona State?
Yeah.
That was ugly. That was one of the ugliest beats I've seen in a long time. They were covering for like, I think 8 seconds of that whole game, and they couldn't even make a shot with the scrubs in, like on the scrub defense. So that one was brutal. Last one I'm going to ask you about, I always like to get other people's opinions on this too, is obviously they've been playing pretty well. They just won a huge game. Arizona, what is your thoughts on them and how well do you see them moving on? Because obviously they're sitting on a 1 seed, probably going to get a 1 seed in the tournament. So probably you'd have to assume with those things there, pushing for a Final Four bid. Do you have any thoughts on them? Because I'm thinking in a futures market, I kind of want them to lose so I can maybe take them because I think they're just getting a little overvalued right now because they've been getting a lot of these big games, right? They're playing on big-time stages on ESPN a ton. So I always like to wait till they lose to grab them again because too many people are watching them and putting money on them.
Yeah, and I mean, like Arizona's looked great this season. Outside of Gonzaga, they're the only other team in the country top 10 offensive efficiency and top 10 defensive efficiency. Now you can take that and say how impressive they've been because they start 4 freshmen. They're the 4th youngest team in the country, averaging 0.52 years of average experience.
Damn.
So that's a ridiculous fact. You're telling me the 4th youngest team in the country is going to be a 1 seed in the March Madness tournament? That's kind of silly to me. I mean, they've deserved the 1 seed as much as they've done this season, but it's going to be a team I completely fade. Like I said, they're so young, getting the 1 seed. I think a lot of these guys will come back for next year. And with Gonzaga losing, homegrown Timmy next year, maybe a couple other guys, Nebhard or whatever, that gives Arizona a chance to possibly be the national champion next season. So I think this is a team to watch for next year, but not right now. And I know everyone's high on them and loves Zona right now, but realistically, they're in the Pac-12, man. Like outside of UCLA, USC, and Oregon, they haven't really played anyone this season, unless you're counting Tennessee. They did beat Illinois early in the season. Disadvantaged spot for Illinois, in my opinion. And they beat Michigan, who now we laugh at Michigan. So, I think Arizona is slightly overrated. For them to be the second or third best team in odds to make the Final Four and to win the national championship, I kind of think that's laughable.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what I wanted to get at was if I'm going to ever bet Arizona, they better be like the 5th or 6th option. They can't be the number 2 or 3 to me. No. And the only guy I really like is that Matherin, right? That's how you say it. That dude is a monster. I love watching him play. He just plays with so much energy. He kind of reminds me of like KD Johnson of Auburn, where he has the ball. He's fast. He's fast.
Don't get me started on KD Johnson, my most hated player in college basketball. I can't
He's a flopper. He's a flopper.
Russell Westbrook 2.0. It's insane. The guy just chucks, tries to get free throws every single time he goes to the basket, throwing up crazy stuff. I mean, I have a sick disdain for him because he's lost me a couple of team totals on Auburn because he's just trying to take over at the end. And I'm just like, you are not it, sir. But KD Johnson easily my most hated player in college basketball this season.
Yeah, no, he's a flopper, man. Anytime he gets touched, the dude just flies like a fish. But yeah, that was all I wanted. I saw what I wanted to get out of you. I just want to know where you're at in that futures market there. But yeah, let's obviously we have the ticker on the bottom going through our plays. I'll kind of run through my 2. I'll let you run through your 2. And then we'll mention our collabs here quick. And then we'll get it rolling. The games start here in like 10 minutes. So get everybody's bets in. But I'll let you start it off what you're rolling with tonight. And then maybe which one's the one you're most confident in? Which one are you kind of feeling yourself on?
Okay. Well, San Diego State, Boise State under 120 was the first play I locked in today. To be honest, most confident play, I really like our Nebraska Northwestern over, man. Everything points to it going over 148.5, over 148, over 149, whatever number you can get. I think it's a great play. And then the Arkansas Moneyline play for me as well. And I feel good about it. It's probably my least confident bet just because Florida has the nice winning streak going. But I do think this is the best opportunity for Arkansas to break that losing streak in Gainesville. So Arkansas money line, the over in Nebraska, Northwestern, and the under, and San Diego State, Boise State.
Yeah, you had to mix it up a little bit. You got to get an under in there. I like it. Yeah, I do have an under on my card, which is scary. It's just like, dude, these unders are just so nerve-wracking. Like I'm cheering for bricks. It's like my favorite part is like having like someone sit next to me who doesn't bet, and we're watching a game, and I'm cheering when they miss.
Yeah.
And I'm like pissed when they throw a dunk down, and everybody else is like clapping. I'm like, dude, we want them to miss.
Yes.
It's so bad. I'll go through mine. I'm going to be rolling with Toledo team total over 79.5. I think that is just absolutely disrespectful line there. And I will also be rolling with Ohio's team total. I will also be on Toledo's actual full game over. It's 145.5. I don't trust their defense. But did you know Toledo's number 3 in the country in ATS percentage this year? Yes, they're wagons. They're my number 3 wagon. Number 1 wagon is VMI. Number 2 is Eastern Washington. And you bring in the Toledo Rockets, they're bringing up the rear in the number 3 spot. So they're going to be pushing for that top spot. And I think if I'm going to go with my most confident, I do really like that Nevada one. I think the Nevada one, the collabs that we have, I think are the best ones on the slate for us. Just because the numbers are there. I like the matchup here. And I like that late night hammer. It's going to be coming through for us. Yeah. And the Bryce Hamilton side, I don't see how Nevada can slow him down. There is no way, unless they're doubling, that they're going to slow down Bryce Hamilton. This dude is an absolute monster. And
if they double, it's going to be problems because they have no 3-point defense. So there's going to be open guys on the wing. So, yeah, I love it. Lots of points tonight, unless you're Boise State and San Diego.
I was going to say, but we have one under on it. We didn't skip out on all the unders.
Yeah, no, definitely sounds good. I can't wait. We might as well parlay a couple of these 2 for some lunch money tonight because I think we're getting hot. I love all our plays, and I'm pretty confident that we're going to finish with a profitable night tonight.
Oh, for sure. I love this card. I know a lot of people I've been seeing on Twitter say it's a difficult card, but I like it. I think that there's a lot of different types of actions. You're going all over the country to find these plays, whether it's Big 10, Big 12. You can go even to Mountain West. Everywhere you go, there's some good games tonight to watch. So I'm ready to pop off here. Do you have anything you want to say before we head on out here?
I appreciate everyone watching. Best of luck if you're telling. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel because there's constant winners.
Hell yeah. Appreciate that. Again, follow Vaughn. I have his Twitter link in the bio down there, so make sure you go follow him. I know you're putting out a lot of articles. I've been watching those videos you've been posting. And you guys are doing good stuff over there. I know you were out at the Super Bowl, so that looked like a fun time on out there. So
can't tell by my complexion, but I was in LA for a week.
You didn't get the spray tan or anything in there?
No, man. It's brutal out here in Connecticut. As soon as I came back, it just hit me like this. So I can't wait for spring baseball to come back. I hit some baseball games, hot dogs, beer, just lay out in the sun, live the good life.
Yeah, I feel that. We'll definitely have to meet up at Wrigley or something for sure.
Definitely, brother.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk soon. Let me know if you're tailing on Twitter. Again, both of our links to our Twitter bios are over there in the description below. So thank you guys for tuning in. Best of luck on your bets, and hopefully you're tailing and making some money with us tonight. So thank you guys. Have a good one.